All right, let's dive into something delicious today, shall we? We're talking food and wine tourism, a trend that just keeps growing, and, well, for good reason, I think. I mean, it combines two of the best things out there, travel and incredible food and drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we've got a ton of fascinating sources on this. Our mission today, help you discover some truly unique culinary experiences around the world.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe even spark an idea or two for your next trip.
Exactly. And what I find so interesting about food and wine tourism, it's so much more than just, well, eating and drinking, right? It's immersive,
Yeah.
like a doorway into a region's culture, its history.
Okay, I like that. A delicious doorway. So paint a picture for our listener. What does this actually look like in practice?
Hmm. Well, okay. Imagine yourself, right, in a Tuscan vineyard,
Yeah.
sun-drenched, rolling hills all around you. You're learning about winemaking tradition, the sun going back centuries, and you're sipping some of the world's best wines.
Sounds pretty idyllic to me.
Right. Or picture yourself in Tokyo, heart of the city. You're taking a sushi making class, learning the techniques, sure, but also, the whole philosophy behind it. That precision, that respect for the ingredients, so central to Japanese cuisine.
Okay. Yeah, you've definitely got my attention. And our sources all point out how this trend is, well, it's global, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Every corner of the world has something special to offer the culinary traveler. You've got the classics, of course, Italy, Spain, France, each with like these deep-rooted traditions.
Yeah, the classics. Yeah, those are always tempting.
Right. But then you've got places like Vietnam, where street food is practically an art form,
Hmm.
or India, with that incredible array of spices and flavors.
Man, this is making me want to book a flight right now. But let's break it down a bit. What are the core elements of a culinary tourism experience? What should people actually expect?
Well, the local cuisine is definitely key,
Yeah.
but it's not just about eating, right? It's about, I don't know, savoring, experiencing it.
Right, like really experiencing it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, imagine you're having dinner at a family-run trattoria in Italy. Pasta's handmade, recipes been passed down for generations. That's a connection to history and culture you can't get from a guidebook.
You're right. It's like understanding the story behind the food. So, what else is there? What else should our listeners expect on this kind of adventure?
Well, if you appreciate a good vintage, wine tasting is a must-do.
Yeah, of course.
But it's not just about like swirling and sipping. We're
Mm.
talking about exploring famous wine regions. Napa Valley, Stellenbosch, Mendoza, places like that.
Yeah.
Walking through the vineyards, going down into those cool cellars, learning about the whole process of turning grapes into wine.
And maybe, just maybe, discovering a new favorite wine along the way.
Exactly.
Okay, so amazing food, incredible wine. But what about those of us who like to get our hands a little dirty in the kitchen?
Then cooking classes are perfect. It's one thing to enjoy a great meal, but to learn to make it yourself, that's something else entirely, isn't it? You could be mastering French pastry in Paris or unlocking the secrets of Thai curries in Bangkok.
Imagine you come home, whip up this gourmet meal for your friends.
Right.
I'm sensing a theme here. It's all about immersion, isn't it? Not just watching, but doing, participating.
You got it. And that brings us to another exciting element of culinary tourism.
Food festivals.
Food festivals, yeah. Our source actually mentioned one that sounded pretty intense.
Oh, yeah, La Tomatina in Spain.
That's the one, yeah.
Thousands of people, all gathered in a town square having this giant, joyful tomato fight.
Wow, that sounds like a unique cultural experience, that's for sure.
It is pure fun. And speaking of unique, what about travelers who are, well, more focused on sustainability and responsible travel? Does culinary tourism have something for them?
Right, right. Good point. Definitely. There's a real trend towards farm-to-table experiences these days, connecting with the source of your food. Imagine walking through a local farm, picking fresh produce, and learning about the entire journey from field to plate.
That sounds amazing. It really speaks to that desire for authenticity, that connection. So we've got incredible meals, amazing wine experiences, hands-on cooking classes, even epic tomato fights. But we're just scratching the surface here, aren't we? There's more to food and wine tourism than just the delicious experiences, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It goes way beyond what's on your plate. It can have a real impact on local economies, communities even.
Okay, well, let's dig into that then. I am ready to go beyond the plate and explore those deeper benefits. Okay, so we're talking about the impact of food and wine tourism. Like it's more than just a vacation, right? It's about connecting with a place on a, I don't know, on a deeper level. How does that actually work, though? What does that look like?
Well, I think one of the biggest benefits is how food, like, acts as this bridge to cultural understanding. It's almost like a secret language,
Yeah.
that can unlock traditions and customs that you just wouldn't encounter otherwise.
So it's not just about the taste, but the story behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you give us an example? Like, what kind of insights can you gain through these food and wine experiences?
Sure, yeah. Our sources actually mentioned a really interesting example from Japan, the traditional tea ceremony. It's not just about, drinking tea. It's this whole ritual. It's steeped in like centuries of history and symbolism. Every movement, every single utensil, every gesture has a meaning, and it reflects, these core values of harmony, respect, tranquility.
Wow, that's a powerful example of how food and drink, it can be so much more than just, sustenance. It's a pathway to understanding a culture.
Exactly.
And I imagine these kinds of experiences, they have a pretty positive impact on the local communities too, right?
Oh, definitely. Food and wine tourism, it brings in some much needed revenue right into these local economies. We're talking about supporting, farmers, chefs, wineries, artisans, tour guides, everyone,
Yeah.
the whole ecosystem that makes these experiences possible.
It's like a form of travel that actually gives back.
Hmm.
Instead of these big corporations benefiting, you're directly supporting the people who are keeping those traditions alive.
Yeah, exactly. And this ties into, I think, this growing emphasis on sustainability.
Mm.
Travelers are looking for experiences that match their values.
So we're talking like eco-friendly practices, responsible sourcing, supporting local food systems, that sort of thing.
Exactly. More and more. Travelers are seeking out, those farm-to-table experiences, supporting organic wineries, and participating in tours that prioritize minimal waste, environmental conservation.
Mm.
It's all about enjoying the present, right, while still protecting the future.
That makes a lot of sense. People want to indulge, right? But they also want to make responsible choices. But, a big part of travel is, well, it's about making memories, right? Those unforgettable experiences. Does food and wine tourism, does it deliver on that front?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Years from now, you might not remember every single, dish that you ate on a trip,
Mm.
but you'll remember the atmosphere of that bustling night market in Bangkok.
Yeah.
The smells of the spices in the air, the laughter shared with locals over a bowl of noodles.
It's the sensory details, those emotional connections, that's what makes a trip truly memorable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening to this right now and they're hooked, they want to plan their own gastronomic adventure. What's the first step? What should they do?
Well, our sources, they suggest starting with research, figure out which destinations are known for the specific cuisines or wines that really intrigue you. Are you dreaming of like perfect pasta in Italy? Or maybe you're craving those bold Malbecs from Argentina, or maybe you're fascinated by the art of sushi in Japan, or those vibrant Thai curries. There's so much out there.
So many delicious possibilities. All right, so you've narrowed down your destination. What's next? All right, so the dream destination's picked out. What happens next? How do we actually make this trip happen?
Well, now it's tour selection time.
Yeah.
Got to find those itineraries that give you that well-rounded experience, the ones that blend the tastings, the workshops, maybe some sightseeing
No,
too.
I've got to have some balance. Can't just be eating and drinking, right? Well, maybe. But, experiencing the culture and history, seeing the place, that's important too.
Absolutely. It's about the whole package. And when you're looking at these tours, one thing our sources really emphasized was prioritizing the authentic local experiences over those more commercialized ones.
Gotcha. So, like, those small, intimate tours, maybe led by locals who are, passionate about sharing their knowledge, their love of the food and the wine, right?
Exactly. That's where you'll find those hidden gems, those stories, the connections that really make a trip special.
Okay, research done, tours booked, now it's time to pack.
Mhm.
Anything our listeners should keep in mind, essentials, for this kind of trip.
Oh, definitely. Comfortable shoes, first and foremost. All those walking tours, vineyard visits, got to have comfy shoes, trust me.
Yeah, good point. And, well, we can't forget an extra suitcase for all those culinary souvenirs you're bound to bring back.
Yeah.
I can already picture myself lugging home bottles of wine, regional spices, maybe even a pasta making kit.
That's the spirit. And hey, don't forget a notebook. Jot down those memorable meals, the hidden gems you discover, those tips and tricks you learn along the way. That way you can savor it all long after the trip's over.
Love that idea. Capture those memories, make them last. So as we wrap up this delicious deep dive, what's the one thing, the key takeaway you want our listener to remember about food and wine tourism?
Hmm. I think it's this. Food and wine tourism, it's not just a trip, it's a journey. You know, a journey for your senses. It's a way to savor the world, connect with different cultures in a really meaningful way, and create memories that will last. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone, embracing new flavors, seeing the world through the lens of food and drink.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to our listeners, now that you've had a taste of what's possible, where will your next gastronomic adventure take you? Maybe a hands-on pasta making class in Italy, wine tasting in Argentina, surrounded by those incredible vineyards, the world's your oyster, or should I say, your delicious plate of possibilities.
Yeah, I like that. And remember, culinary adventures, they don't have to be these extravagant international trips. Start exploring in your own backyard. You never know what amazing food and drink experiences you might find right around the corner.
It's so true. All right, everyone, whether you're dreaming of far-off destinations or checking out your local farmer's market, keep that culinary curiosity alive. Keep those taste buds adventurous. Until next time, bon appétit.